when we are not intentional about tuning into this regulated state where goodness lives, when we're not intentional, when we're not aware of what that state feels like, when we're not aware about our own ability to make choices to resonate with this state, when we're not aware when we get out and how to bring it back in, when we don't have some sort of a self-care routine where we intentionally tap in, maybe it's in the morning, at night, maybe it's a practice we do intentionally, we spend time in nature, we listen to music, we intentionally slow down just to calibrate, to find balance, to get a clear space. When we don't do that, but when we have the capacity to, meaning that how we're wired, like if you think of a bell curve, if how we're wired, we really don't have anything in the way of taking the time to get into that space. When we don't do that, we add to chaos. We live in this reactive state where when things happen that create discomfort, when things happen that are unexpected, when things don't go according to plan, we react to them. And so we add to this state. So if you can think of the bell curve, and we may not always be in that space where we can calibrate, but there's always going to be this majority of people that have this capacity to be in this space of balance. So because of that bell curve, we have these extremes. So extreme behavior exists, but I don't think the extreme behavior has to exist at the level of intensity. So when you think about impulsive actions, and you think about like death by suicide, or you think about when somebody gets into a like homicidal mindset, they're extreme behaviors. They're high intensity behaviors. And so if the majority of us can learn how to be in a more balanced, regulated state, and again, life is going to happen. Things are going to happen. We're going to be in and out. But if we can just grow in our awareness of it and do things that help us regulate, we can lessen the intensities on the extremes that can contribute to maybe whatever those extreme behaviors are not being so extreme. So mass shootings, school violence, the suicide, orientation towards goodness. What does it mean to be a person that orients themselves to goodness, that practices daily skills, tools, and strategies that help? Like if you think of a rut, right? And if you think of in that rut, you're like, but you get out of that rut, it gets bumpy, but then you get back in, and you get out of that rut, and it gets bumpy, and you get back in. So I think most of us are built in a way where we do have the capacity to regulate, and to regulate more often, and it adds to your experience of life. Ordinary day, extraordinary way, when we return to and live from this space of goodness, this space of balance most of the time, and this space grows. So you could call that space between cause and effect. So you could call that space between like a stimulus and a reaction. So out there on those extremes, there are people that just get stuck with, there's mental illness, there's things that can get you into, just this level of being in the world where you're tapped out. And then there's that little gray area, kind of between the balance and between the extreme. And so anyway, that's my intention, is just that more of us start to get it. More of us start to care about ourselves enough to find time, to take time intentionally to get in a regulated, balanced state, and to tap into that goodness if it's available, to radiate it, and And when we tap into our own goodness and when we believe in our own goodness, it's so easy to know that same truth for everyone. It's so easy to know that even if somebody's not on their A game, it's so easy to know what they have access. Self-care, ordinary day, extraordinary way, be a goodness person, that's all.